The roadmap that changes RuneScape forever by, of course, RuneScape. RuneScape's in a very interesting time right now. I've talked to a few people. It was actually Yako on our mod team who got me back into it. You know, hey Kip, you should play this RuneScape game. I'm like, Yako, you don't know what you you don't know what you talk about. I've sunk way too many hours into this game. Not everything's not maxed. Don't get me wrong. I'm still missing things like Bow of the Last Guardian and stuff like that. Currently training divination, just AFK memory dowser status. But it is a game that I've put a lot of time into, and a game that I honestly enjoy. There are definitely some complaints. Proteans have been the big one. Kind of giving a little preamble before we get into it. Reasons why I stopped playing Proteans. It was genuinely better to not skill, to wait for your Proteans and bonuses to stack. That way you could just AFK using Protean logs or Protean cogs or Protean planks, right? So I've heard that they're removing that. We are in for EOC 2. I actually did take place on the beta. Actually got into the beta from their forum post. And I think that Magic, especially with how they're reworking Greater Sonic Wave, and they're not going to touch on this in this video. I think Magic's in a good place. I'm a filthy 5-piece animated Crypt Bloom user with FSOA, 100%. Not even going to sugarcoat that. Melee's still in a really interesting spot. Melee, as we've talked about in many other reactions, run into some issues where even in just like a boss like Jad, right? Fight Cave Jad, you have to deal with that third mechanic because you're so close, and you are dealing with Jad's melee at that point for prayer plicking rather than just mage and magic and ranged. Vorkath as well, you know, me sitting at range with FSOA, or let's say someone sits at range with Bow of the Last Guardian versus someone using Langs or even Exekiel to try to hit damage cap with the rework spec, right? I mean, they still got to deal with Vorkath Slam. So Melee's been an interesting spot, and that's going to be a long-term project. But I kind of wanted to see, I've heard this alluded to, so I want to see what they're doing, and I want to see where they're going with the game. I'm very curious to see what their roadmap looks like, and then to give kind of some closing thoughts at the end.
Listen closely.
The Zuck
For
Cave.
it is time for me to tell you a story.
Hi, Juna.
This new age has been one of strife. The loss of balance initially tipped the scales towards chaos. And although order re-established itself for a short reprieve, it was not before the land had been marred from the conflict. While some events had been long awaited and delivered on an ages-old promise, others were unexpected, perhaps even mocking, and far more divisive. However, no matter which god one followed, to survive in this new age required one to fight, to evolve. Many that refused to chose to depart, taking solace in the ways of old. In order to weather this storm, many who remained felt no choice but to place their own survival paramount. While some others simply continued their daily toil, and a grim few stood firm against the gale, teeth bared in an iron grimace of resistance. Though set apart, we all found ways to survive and fight back. And through each and every one of us, victory has now been achieved.
Hey,
Now,
bye, Zamrak.
the gods have been banished once again. The destruction they wrought is slowly being repaired. The wounds they left behind are beginning to heal.
The updates look good.
The people are returning to their everyday lives. And the allure of treasure has lost its luster. While progress has been made, much work remains to be done. The people must try once again to find the best version of themselves. To remove the clutter and mess still left over from the strife.
Oh man, dude, I wish I had only like 3 bars. Literally in the other window. Bro, I run my UI is a little janky because I've set up for divination training, but like, I mean, I run no less than 5 bars at a time, right? You got your prayers, you got your curses, you have your defensive abilities like resonance, debilitate, barricade, You have your initial bar, which I mean, right now, let's say I'm using, especially with something like Melee right now, pre-EOC2. Woo, boy, that's not a fun one. Melee has so much bloat. It's a little unreal. So just looking at the scaled down HUD, and I'm like, bro, how do you fit this on 2 bars? That right there. Magic 120 status.
And to work on new ways of fighting back against the ills that linger on. Only through this can the balance be fully restored, and hope along with it for the old ways and the new to rejoin their hands in harmony. What was lost can never be returned, only mourned. But we can strive towards building something greater, and together step forwards into a new era.
I thought it was good. Thought it was a good animation. I will say I'm missing a lot of context, such as the Cabbage God. I also haven't done Slisk's Endgame because it wasn't required content. I know I blitzed a lot of like the Azazandra's quest line to get like Soul Split and stuff up through God Wars Dungeon 3 and Extinction because Ring of Vigor passive is disgusting. But like I'm missing so much context because I know I blitzed through some of those quests. So I need to go back at some point and figure out what exactly happened and where. Because I remember we were streaming the other day and I'm like, what happened to that Slisk guy? And chat's just like, have you done Slisk Endgame? I'm like, oh yeah, no, I haven't. Oh yeah, go play Slisk Endgame. Cabbage God, totally unaware of what happened there. So it's actually kind of magical coming back to this game. Dude, yeah, you have to understand my quest log is so jank, right? Like I still have to do like Cabin Fever and stuff on my main, right? Stuff that's like 15 years old because I have to do it in order to access what do you call it? Remains of the Necrolord to get to Alpha and Omega, right? Like it's oh dude, my quest log is so jank, it would make people cry.
Welcome to our biggest RuneScape ahead ever, and the start of a bold new era for RuneScape. As we celebrate RuneScape's 25th anniversary, this moment is about looking back, recognizing the highs and the lows over the last 25 years, and taking a defining step in orienting RuneScape towards a bright future. We're unveiling our roadmap plans for the entirety of 2026 and introducing a brand new identity for RuneScape, one that reflects both our heritage, but also our ambition for the years ahead. For me, it's a symbol of renewal, of growth, and of tapping back into the essence of RuneScape at its best. This year is about setting RuneScape back on course to deliver meaningful experiences and lasting value to players.
So I do want to take a quick moment aside, and I was actually having this conversation before Pathfinder last night with Buddy, who he's very much on the OSRS side of things. He gets excited for leagues every now and again, but I'm not ignorant of the fact that a lot of this is being done because of some of the bad will. Like, goodwill has been expended in bad will. Jagex has unfortunately kind of earned for themselves. You know, the whole mod Jed situation, aggressive microtransactions with Treasure Hunter and stuff, right? Very much some bad will earned by a lot of people, and some people have ultimately left, right? Me, myself, I remember when Zamorak launched. Zamorak was the current boss, and I remember just like, yeah, I kind of lost interest in the game, right? I also don't like bossing solo, so being able to like duo, even trio Vorkath, I'd like to get back into doing Zamorak and stuff soon. I like the group things. Like things like Zuck, I actually am a huge fan of. Very much a big wind-up through 16 waves of enemies and prior bosses to get to Zuck. Very much a fan of that. But, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I feel that part of this is Jagex wanting to have goodwill and wanting to actually make a good game. But I think part of this is also, like, from the investor side of things, like, you know, hey, we're losing metrics, we're losing retention, we're losing player count, and we need to boost engagement. We need to boost those sub numbers, right? I think that is not a small part of this. I don't want to seem like super down, because I actually like a lot of the RuneScape community. I use Froxu quest guides constantly. I use this Haunted Mine one recently. I use it because I like looking in real time. The wiki has a little bit of a problem, and even the newer players, Baka actually got into RuneScape fairly recently. The wiki, I love the wiki. The wiki's really good. It has some really good setup bars for Revo. I modify them a little bit more if I'm being honest, but like they're a good starting point for people. The wiki has a problem where like it won't tell you everything up front, or at least it used to not tell you everything up front. So you get like, 3/4 through the quest and it says, oh, you need this specific item. And you got to go, you have to like wean back and go find the item, right? Where Froxu guides have been absolutely fantastic. They've been amazing. He puts a lot of effort into them. I'm super grateful that the dude exists. Protox as well. I had some dude try to PK me. And, oh my God, you're going to love this, chat. Some dude tried to PK me at Runecrafting Abyss last night, and he's just like, "Hey, Kiz," because like, people can they shorten my name. Hey, Kiz, you hear about the buff? And I'm just like, what? I'm just like, are you here for Runecrafting? Like, I'm here for RC, and they're just like, oh yeah, this marker above my head gives you 35% XP because I'm wearing like pretty expensive stuff, right? And I'm just like, nice try. And he's like, no, this red symbol above my head, it gives you 35% XP. I'm like, bro, like. There's literally a Protox video up on this exact subject. Like, Demon Skull enables you to get PK'd. They also rolled it into Rune, like, base the XP from Demon Skull into base Runecrafting. And then he just logs out. I don't know. Like, how people get a sick sense of enjoyment from PKing? I get a sick sense of enjoyment watching PKers just get absolutely just depressed and disengaged. It's very funny. Oh my God. But yeah, I want to say that like there's a no small part of there's a mix of wanting to make a good game, and there's a need here to keep things going for the next 30 years, right? And RuneScape's kind of in a weird spot right now where, I mean, I'd argue it has brand recognition, but like, things like Treasure Trails, right? Treasure Hunter. It was genuinely better, and I think that's the loop I found myself in trying to use Protean logs and stuff because they're going away, right? And they'll talk about it in this. The problem I run into is it genuinely is just like, wow, it's just really, it's better EXP for me to just AFK this for 3 hours. And that's not the game that I specifically want.
This anniversary year represents more than simply a milestone. For all of us here, we want it to be a turning point, setting RuneScape firmly on course for the future it deserves. And as we continue to evolve across the studio and our games, we're doing so with a clear purpose: to deliver brilliant content that is authentically RuneScape. Experiences that are worth your time and your trust.
I'm going to be honest, so far, because it's about 2 years old, right? I'm doing the Fort Forinthi stuff. I just got to Vorkath. Still very authentically RuneScape. They've been doing a very good job.
Now, we've got a fantastic show ahead, taking a deeper look at all of the incredible content planned for 2026 and our new dedicated integrity roadmap. So, without further ado, I'll hand over to the RuneScape team to talk all about the amazing things headed our way this year.
I'm ready.
We've got an incredible year ahead, and we cannot wait to finally share what's coming throughout 2026. But before we get into it, let's not forget that extra tiny thing that's happening today. By the time this show ends and we come back online, Treasure Hunter will be gone from RuneScape.
I think that honestly, this is one of the best things they could have done. Because at this point, it makes people play the game. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, we all like our lucky items. We all like the items. I think I have the blue sunshine override, right? Like, I have cosmetic override. I think stuff like that is fine for events and stuff. But this has been a big criticism for years. You want your key, and that's the thing. Like, part of it is also reimbursement as well. Like, what happens? Because I know I had keys just sitting there. I'm pretty sure I had some keys just sitting there. So what happened? Like, I don't know if there was a reimbursement or not on that. Which that becomes a weird point of contention.
And hundreds of gameplay impacting MTX items will no longer be on sale.
Good.
With that said, let's dive in with our new integrity roadmap, now aptly named the Road to Restoration.
Okay.
The Road to Restoration is an entirely separate set of integrity releases that sits alongside our main content roadmap for 2026. Throughout the year, we'll be giving the core RuneScape experience a ton of TLC to restore a stronger foundational experience for every player for years and years to come.
We'll talk about combat when they start talking about combat a little bit more. I have some thoughts on the beta as well as how they worded some things.
With these releases, we'll hit issues like daily skate pressure, early and mid-game skilling balance, visual identity, and a whole load more. And we're excited to kick off this Road to Restoration through 3 brand new releases going live today, right after the show.
Starting with the UI.
we unveil a fresh new look.
It looks good.
It's a familiar update to the UI that keeps all the functionality you need, with a cleaner, more classic, and fresher look throughout.
We've also
I mean, so that's the thing. Like, if we go back to my UI, right? And it's not going to be 1-to-1. I mean, this is roughly about what it is, minus the bar being off to the right over here. I very much structure my stuff in a certain way because I do focus on like PVM and stuff. I mean, like I want access. I also have transparency up a little bit. That way I can see through. That way I'm not blind spotted, right? Like if you can't really see it. Actually, I can. Above my shoulder, how you can see the lake under the bar. I mean, my bar's kind of my stuff has remained fairly consistent, to be fair. But I also think that speaks to the customization of the UI. Like, I actually really like how they allow you to customize things. But then again, I mean, things like Final Fantasy XIV allow you to kind of do some of that stuff as well. I'm certain World of Warcraft does. I know World of Warcraft allows plugins. Still have to flirt with Lord of the Rings Online settings a little bit too. But like, I mean, especially coming from a lot of games where you can't modify the UI, games like Destiny 2 consistently still frustrate me a little bit because you can only have so many buffs, right? Like, if I have 10 buffs, just show me 10 buffs. Don't show me like 5, and then I have to like remember that I have the other 5 active. That's more of a nitpick and a criticism, because for most people that doesn't matter. But I mean, coming from MMOs and stuff, like, I need to know if my FSO is on cooldown. I like to know if my life points are being boosted. I like to know certain effects that are happening on my bar and certain debuffs as well, right? Like in Final Fantasy XIV, I need to know if I have a Vuln stacks. I need to know if I have a bleed on me. I need to know if I'm being targeted for red or blue mechanic, right? Thinking something like Omega MF, or thinking something like Twink 182, the extremes, right? Which is M10. Yeah, M10. But like, it's I like having more information. For a lot of people, it's redundant.
improved the default layout to make it a stronger, more versatile
Default
alternative,
layout, yeah.
and something that works no matter where you are in your journey. As part of this, we're reintroducing the classic circular minimap and chat box, a small but welcome nod to the RuneScape many of us grew up with. This is just the first update in a series of iterative improvements we want to make to the UI, with many more improvements to come, working closely with all of you to take this even further.
Speaking of visuals, our second release today will also introduce cosmetic toggle options.
Yes!
This will let you selectively hide other players' worn customizations and their animation customizations at your discretion.
Honestly, I'm a huge fan of this, though. Like, don't get me wrong. I have some cosmetics on, like my wings, right? Which honestly go pretty hard with necromancy. But for the most part, I've honestly turned them off because I like the more authentic experience. So here's the thing, right? I'm a huge fan of this because it allows players the option to choose, right? One of the big things one of my a buddy and I had about Halo Infinite was, you know, the whole like on kill effect, like the red skull pops up. You can't because you can't turn it off, so you just get really annoyed when homeboy, you know, it just went through the entire battle pass and just has it on, and it's just hyper annoying. I mean, it's a nuisance to a small amount of people, but like, I don't know, that one, it's strange. Like, a lot of RuneScape, a lot of the complaints that I heard about RuneScape was that it started to lose its core identity. That you had a lot of really interesting cosmetics, some just wild cosmetics. I don't remember which one it is. It's the one that makes you, it doesn't make you look like an Anku, but it makes your like skin like transparent, and like you have like a purple nervous system. Because that, I guess, is just like a default baked in game. I don't remember which event that was from. But like, even stuff like that kind of breaks my immersion a little bit. Something like the ultimate, what's the ultimate for necromancy? It's is it Invoke Death? No, it's Living Death. Where you turn it. That kind of makes sense, and I kind of give it a pass because it is an ultimate ability and it does affect what you do. It's a visual indicator as well. But like, stuff like this on screen just got so cluttered, and I'm actually really glad that they're kind of. And that's the thing. Like, it would be another form of controversy if they outright removed it. I think this is a W because it allows people to choose, right? So if I want to turn it back on and see someone's outfit that they, you know, that they crafted out of, you know, out of premium stuff, awesome. That's super cool. But if I want a more streamlined experience, you know, seeing people wearing skilling outfits, if I want to see people wearing, you know, or hey, you're wearing Havoc, or Investments of Havoc, are you wearing Masterwork armor? Are you wearing Elite Serenic? Are you wearing Tectonic? Are you wearing the new Amasket armor, right? I mean, I'm a fan of that personally. So this appeals to a person like me. Maybe it doesn't appeal to other people. I like that it's an option, right? It's not being forced on anybody. The option is there.
Not a fan of wings? Hide them. If you want to authentically see what other people are wearing, no problem. That includes you, Timmy, with your half dragon, half adamant combo.
Amazing.
We're not here to judge. All these cosmetic toggles will release in today's update, and later this year, we'll give you even more toggle options to hide other players summoning familiar customizations too.
Last but not least, our third release is a world update for Gielinor, focused on iconic free-to-play areas like Lumbridge, Draenor, and Varrock.
Apparently Remington now has had an overhaul. I didn't go there because I was skilling something. I don't remember what I was skilling, but I had our mods Nemui and Yutaka, or excuse me, Nemui and Yako, I'm sorry. Both of them ended up hopping over to Remington, and we're just kind of admiring the new update there.
These areas now match the visual standard we're establishing across the game, with more to come later this year.
They're rolling
And
out.
in what might be one of the weirdest patch notes we've ever written, we've also updated all normal oak and willow trees across the entire game to a stronger visual standard.
Okay.
Making it more consistent and cohesive with the game world.
I'm into
And on
it.
top of all of that, the in-game rune metrics functionality will be completely free for everyone this spring. This is part of a wider effort to make tooling more accessible and genuinely useful for all players. These updates mark the start of the road to restoration and set the stage for a year of rebuilding, strengthening RuneScape's core experience.
I think the rune metrics thing is honestly great. Like I get it's of the era. I think making it freely accessible is honestly a W as well. I think it's more transparent. I know the one that's been floated around. I think Protox did a video about this recently, where we need more transparency in terms of GE, not what's estimate, not what's being thrown around, like what actual street price is. If I'm buying a Tubican light, I need to know that Tubican's light are they're selling for 2.5 bill. I don't need to see market prices 2.4 and then fiddle with, well, do I go up 5? Do I go up 10? And like obviously there's going to be some variance, right? Price fluctuations. It's an economy for all intents and purposes, right? GE transparency I think would also go a long way as well, because I don't know enough about it. Allegedly, there was a big controversy fairly recently as of reacting to this. And I don't want to name the outlet, even if I knew their name. I just don't want, like Protox, I don't think I want to give them the exposure, if that makes sense. But there was a thing going on with the GE fairly recently in regards to a group and pricing, from what I understand.
In February, we'll launch our combat modernization update.
In February,
This will bring the 3 original combat styles into the modern age, building on the things that worked in our approach for necromancy and avoiding the bits that didn't. This update will make the styles more intuitive and easy to learn through experiential gameplay, with refined ability lists slowly introduced as you climb through the levels, and a simpler but deeper synergy between abilities. Throughout the year, we'll continue to make further improvements to combat as a whole. We'll have a full list of proposed changes in our supporting RuneScape Ahead blog, so be sure to take a look at the specifics after the show.
Later on in February,
let me finish this next point.
our focus will shift to the early game experience with our first of many updates to rebalance the game.
And this was what I think a lot of people missed. So I would agree, and some people in the beta testing world were also agreeing with this. It feels like Melee kind of got nerfed. So here's my big brain 2000 IQ play, right? Or where I'm thinking, right? Melee is going to, unfortunately, most likely suffer in the short term because it is Melee, and we talked about a couple things as well. Things like things like Exekiel got a good rework. I mean, its old ability just used to be awful. Flamebound Rival, I think, is just way better. Melee also struggles, and I think that this is interesting when you read through the beta notes. Let me see if I can find this really quick. Beta, can I find it? Yes, there we go. Combat style improvements. I had to open up a new window, I'm sorry. Because this was what we went through. This was the beta update. And there's a couple points I want to draw attention to on this, because we have the vision, right? Removing threshold ability is all combat styles foundational structure. Combat styles, gameplay identity. In terms of gameplay identity, mid-game power, accessible overall structure, and visual fidelity. In our eyes, once the early game is solved, we continue to improve and expand upon mid-end game experience, such as ammo and EOFs, which makes me really scared because I have like 5 EOFs, because those things are just indispensable. They're really expensive to maintain too, so I don't pull them out a whole lot, except when I'm actually bossing. But that's the thing. So when they say they're focusing on the early game and the mid game experience, right? We're not necessarily tackling how there are a seeming just lack of guides for like melee guide to Zuck, right? Where something like magic, something like range, something like necromancy is just far more optimal. So I wanted to bring that, but there's something specific in regards to melee. So we obviously lost some stuff, unload route, salt the wound, which I'm glad I don't have to grind salt the wound anymore. Needle strike, I'm going to be a little sad about using that, or losing that. Shadow tendrils, the tendrils are weird, we'll get to that in a second. But we went down to melee. Melee lost like, what, a third of their kit, maybe even half. Decimate, Havoc, Smash, Slaughter, Destroy, Massacre, Balance Strike. Let's be honest, no one used Balance Strike, really. Blood Tendrils, Forceful Backhand, Kick, Cleave, Quake, Frenzy, Stomp. Quake's actually going to be really awful to lose because a Quake into a Chaos Roar into an easy K-Spec or just a Pulverize is disgusting because it actually makes them lose defense. But, I mean, Melee lost a lot here. Yes, they rolled Dismember into a 3-stack ability, which I actually really like. I think going the Final Fantasy 14 route with like, because Paladin does this, right? I know others do, like Gunbreaker do it too. You have one ability that is like 3 casts of abilities within that same bar or same button. I think that's going to be where RuneScape's moving in the future. They acknowledge that bleeds are a niche sub-build within Melee. We've talked about this in many other reactions where bleeds don't scale on Berserk, and if they're wanting to really push Berserk, bleeds just don't happen, if we're being honest. While range and magic focus on ammo, I would argue range also focuses a lot more on item charge. Like Bow of the Last Guardian, even augmented, still uses charge, so like that thing can break down. And I'm just like, wow, that's a really expensive 2 bill. But like, obviously, you can like prepare it for like 4.8 mil. All my abilities, not one button. Blessed TG changes for that, right? Yeah. Melee derives all of its nuance through the use of weapons, maintaining dual and two-handed weapon ability variants. It provides flexibility within your rotation depending on your specific needs. I kind of disagree with this. Nemui's of the opinion that we need to just remove the weapon requirements altogether, because from what he experienced during the beta, and I missed, is that magic and ranged, I guess, don't have weapon requirements anymore, right? Like, it's like staff versus, bow versus crossbow, right? I guess those got removed. So melee is still kind of in this weird spot. Melee, as currently right now, is also still hit capped. If you flamebound rival and then you go through your rotation, Chaos Roar, Zuck Spec again, you're only hitting 30Ks, right? Melee is the only style, as I understand it right now, that is still very nerfed by its hit cap. It's one of the styles that can consistently hit cap. But also I understand not wanting to do like buku amounts of damage and needing a balancing point somewhere. It's like wanting to lean into Berserk more, but it doesn't. So here's where my like thought process is. If they're leaning so heavily into Berserk, because clearly they want to do this. Really learning to go Berserk element of Berserk, even the ability to be fierce as you want within reason. They're really wanting to lean into Berserk. Which is fine. We have upgraded Sunshine for magic, which I totally forgot was a codex and got that recently. We have updated Death Swiftness for ranged. We don't have a greater Berserk, right? And I feel like a lot of these balances and tweaks are on the understanding that melee has Berserk, and that you literally just deal 2 times damage every minute, right? 1 minute cooldown. As long as you have 100% adrenaline, you keep your uptime. On the Revo bars on the wiki, Berserk is your first ability. You will be proccing this back to back to back to back to back, right? So if the core ability is the problem of Berserk, maybe you need to look at Berserk. Why not make it a 1.5x in line with Sunshine, or in line maybe 1.75x, right? Because like you said, we have to deal with melee mechanics like Vorcast slamming you, or like Jad actually punching you now, right? It seems like the concern and a lot of trying to rein this in, especially with hit cap, it feels like Berserk is kind of the culprit. You either work with Berserk and understand that you will be playing with power, and obviously you need to be cognizant, right? I'm not saying melee needs to be the best style in the game, but it very much is a point of contention for a lot of players, and a lot of players that I play with personally as well. I don't know. It's interesting to think about where their design process is. I was trying to find it as well, but they talk about how melee is a style that focuses on weapons, and I think we covered a little bit of this, right, in the intro. Because yeah, you are swapping between your Langs, right? Langs into Exec into ZGS, because ZGS, you know, drop the black hole, do more damage. Tumikin's Light, although you're not necessarily using that endgame bossing, as I understand it, very good for ad clear, very good for trash mobs, right? Even then, something like Zuck, I don't think has enough. I don't think you're going to be proccing Tumikin's Light all too much. Maybe if you're using Tumikin's Light spec, and then it's the on-hit effect. I don't know. That one's going to be an interesting one to really unpack. So I say all of this because I'm interested. I'm invested. I mean, clearly, because I don't have the skilling outfit, right? For divination yet, but I mean, I'm wearing vestments of Havoc set, right? Like I'm wearing set. I have my EZK in my inventory, right? I very much want melee to succeed, and as I said, I don't need it to be a best in slot style, but it is something I feel does need a little bit of attention, right? I feel it's something that is a little underpowered. I would argue a good parallel might be Machinist from Final Fantasy XIV, at least currently in Dawn Trail, and even in Endwalker, as I understand it, where Machinist just doesn't perform like the other classes. Like it just doesn't hit the damage caps that it needs to. It doesn't hit the thresholds, right? So therefore, it leads itself to being a subpar choice if we're talking from an actual damage perspective. That being said, as long as you're moving, as long as you're not eating attacks and vuln stacks, as long as you're actively doing damage, you can clear any activity in the game, right? I mean, if you're dodging all the attacks you need to, I'm sure you could clear ultimates just fine with Machinist, right? If we're talking from an efficiency standpoint, why are we not using Pictomancer? Why are we not using Reaper? Why are we not using Black Mage? I think Picto and Black Mage, last I understood it, were highest DPS in the game. So, sorry for that aside. I'm very passionate about this topic, and especially when we talk about combat, I'm very passionate about combat, both in-game and outside the game, right? So I wanted to bring up that there are some challenges, and I also wanted to bring up, I didn't really see people talking that this is a early game to mid game focused beta, right? And that they will be tackling the late game at a later stage. So I'm very much invested in the long term. I'm invested that in the fact that they are going to deal with more end game stuff later, and I'm thinking that if they think like we talk about with companies, right? They take a hit in the short term to guarantee long term success, right? Same vibe, right? If Melee has to take the short end of the stick in the short term, which don't get me wrong, it's taking the short end of the stick for a while, and you work it in a way from the ground up to that, so that when you get to your endgame stuff, it actually has a solid rotation. I'm super into that. I think Magic is in a good spot. I think Range is in a good spot from what I've heard. Melee is still kind of the problem child right now.
We'll be looking to tackle unneeded friction in those early levels by solving their root issues. Think catch rates on shrimps, pickpocketing stun chance, drop tables, and much more. We want skilling to feel simple, rewarding, and engaging, encouraging players to progress into the depths these skills have to offer as they get invested.
Also, to play the game, to not sit at, GE doing Protean after Protean after Protean, right? Like we're already seeing that. Like people are enjoying skilling, and it's a return to the game.
We'll follow that with a similar update for the mid game in summer and a late game update in autumn.
Okay.
RuneScape is at its best when you are logging in because you want to play, as you forge your own path to achieve your goals. Dailyscape is completely counter to what makes RuneScape RuneScape. In this update, we'll be taking a holistic look at all Dailyscape systems, from shop stocks to Weeswax, to D&Ds, and even, yes, those hourly wildy events. We want RuneScape to be a game you enjoy playing for what it is, when you feel like it.
I think that's fair, honestly. So I wonder how this is going to affect, because I still haven't finished the Zamorak puzzle box quest, because I still like wince a little bit every time I enter the wilderness, because just years and years of the wilderness being the PvP zone, right? And it still kind of is. You have to opt into it, but I'm always worried that there's going to be a bug or there's going to be something I didn't hear about. So I'm a little paranoid still in the wilderness, but that's actually the big thing is, and that's why I haven't really done them. Finishing that Zamorak puzzle box quest, I do need to do like the wilderness flash events or whatever to unlock. I think it's step 3 or 4. So that's been a huge barrier for me specifically.
And without a checklist of chores to complete.
Auras create a time pressure and a feeling of complexity with extra things you feel like you should consider in your setup before you start the task at hand. That's why this spring we intend to fully remove all auras while redistributing some of those benefits to the core game experience.
So I'm actually going to have a little bit of contention here because I feel like an idiot now because I dropped like almost 2 million loyalty points. 2 million loyalty points. And I mean, it's not like they're hard to get, right? It's just tenure, right? 2 million loyalty points on auras. So what happens when they remove them? Like, I'm not even talking about penance or vampirism. I'm talking about what's the one I have? Like legendary slayer or whatever. Like what about the skilling ones? And that's the thing. If they're going to remove them, that's fine. Is there going to be some sort of reimbursement? Is there going to be some sort of, hey, you, John RuneScape, have been playing for 20 or 25 years, and we know that you spent all these loyalty points on all these auras throughout the years. Is it just that they're going to yoink them? That's where I'm a little cautious. I want to see how this rework works.
No more aura refreshes, no more limited peak efficiency, just a more enjoyable gameplay loop.
The Grand Exchange will also get some love as we set out to address your most desired features and improvements. So we're going to get in there to improve things like how items update their price, buy limits, and more. And as we start development, we want to hear from you with what changes and improvements you'd like to see at the GE.
Finally, later this year, among many other Road to Restoration updates, we'll also improve our social systems through a dedicated update. While we're still working on our full design for this update, we want to improve the overall social experience by improving things like chat range, improvements to broadcasts for things like your collection log drops, and some clan-centric features that make socializing in RuneScape much stronger.
Okay, maybe we have one more thing. For many years, all of you have called for plugins, just like in old school RuneScape.
I actually went through this recently. I had to reset my browser because I tried to install, because as everything I was reading, it was fine. I tried to install Alt F1 or whatever it's called, and it just installed like malware. Maybe it's the GitHub link that was just incorrect because it said this version was depreciated and this is where the new one is, but it was like my PC Play malware. And it adjusted how my browser worked. It defaulted me to I refuse to touch plugins again. Unless it's official Jagex, I don't want to risk it. I cannot risk something like one. Alt F1's perfectly fine. I'm glad it works for you. I got malware when I tried to install it. And that's not a slight at, the actual people making Alt 1 work because I like their necromancy overlay. I wanted their necromancy overlay. But I would need someone trusted to actually get the files from at that point. Because I had a very bad experience.
Plugins empower the community to build tools, features, and functionality to enable unique experiences and take real control over how you interact with the game.
I didn't know Vorkath was an OSRS.
Something you've told us could help RuneScape thrive. And as a result, we're investing in a new dedicated team of developers with one mission, to bring plugins to the RuneScape client before the end of 2026.
I'm okay with this, especially if it can recontextualize combat information. Like, look, I don't need plugins that make it. I just need plugins that can like reprocess information, right? Like if you've seen the necromancy overlay, it like showcases like the 3 to 5 orbs, and it showcases like the 12 death stacks, right, or the 12 necrosis stacks, and like. Lets you know when bloat's about ready to come. It's just recontextualizing information. It makes it a very clearer picture. So if we can get more stuff like that in game and less risk of people like, and I think I'm fairly internet savvy, right? So yeah, it must have been a fake link or it must have been just a false link or something. Having this support in game is an absolute W to me. World of Warcraft has plugins. Final Fantasy 14 doesn't, from what I understand. They don't. That's a pretty vanilla experience. Lord of the Rings Online has plugins. RuneScape old school RuneScape has RuneLight, right? There's plugins for old school RuneScape, like quest helpers and stuff. So I think that this is a W, especially if it can clean up the interface and make information a little more obtainable. I know text size, like text box size, let's go to convert memories really quick. Let's go or check power. I hate reading this. Like in full screen, I strain my eyes to have to read this text box. So it makes me a little sad. Maybe I'm hoping there's gonna be some plugins or something, maybe. Oh, hi, Siren Spirit. there's plugins or something that actually directly address that, because it is some eye strain, a little bit of barrier to not just me, but just even just a cursory search on Reddit. It seems to be an issue as well with a lot of people. So, you know, making the UI function way better, I think, is an absolute W.
To get this right, we need the very core of our design to enable talented developers within the community to do their best work. If you are one of those developers, we invite you to join the early stages of our plugin developer program today. Head to the Discord link below to apply for the program and help shape our systems to bring your ideas to life.
I'm honestly for this. I think this is great. I think this is an absolute W. 14 hates plugins. So to be fair, 14 also actually allows macros. Like, there's a button, you go into settings, macros, right? And you can actually set a like sequence of events via a macro. A lot of people do it for crafting. That's a bit of a trade-off, right? So no plugins, but you can use macros in game because you can set the order, right, by a button and just make it a button. I see this as an absolute huge win. I see this as huge.
Now, while we've removed many MTX items from sale in today's update, our ultimate ambition is to remove their presence in the game for good. At the end of the year, before we essentially make them obsolete, we'll give you the opportunity to get rid of any of them you haven't used. Here, we'll release other updates that replace the positive experiences these items could offer directly within the game. For example, what if, instead of having Slayer VIP coupons, you could just pick from 2 Slayer tasks?
As we move through the year,
yeah, easy. I can tell you, I actually got knowledge bombs yesterday because I had like 20 monthly rewards that I never redeemed. And then I redeemed all of them, and I got like 6 knowledge bombs, a bunch of stars and lamps and stuff. I went from like 7100 up to like 76 on just lamps. So you can still obtain some of those items as of reacting to this video if you have monthly drops you have not actually claimed yet. But yes, they will be going away at the end of the year, sometime later this year, as I understand it.
There will be continued improvements to unifying the visual identity of Gielinor. We'll declutter content from the world that doesn't stand up 25 years into this journey, while continuing our work to bring all of Gielinor up to the cohesive modern standard we've been establishing since 2020. That includes the player avatar refresh.
Nice.
Which we'll touch on later in the show.
The road to restoration is just the first look at the core initiatives to help give RuneScape the care and attention it deserves over this year. We want this roadmap to evolve with your feedback as we move throughout the year and be shaped by all of your voices, your ideas, and what you think should be tackled next.
All of this and more is coming this year.
So Chad actually mentions, does that include bonds? I am a GE warrior, okay? Let's be honest, my Havoc set and stuff I did not get from Zamorak. I definitely GE warriored that with bonds, right? Very much huge. I'm a person who purchases a lot of bonds, right? I don't know if that'll affect it or not, because obviously like RMT exists, and obviously RMT is against game TOS. Don't RMT, right? I think that bonds are actually a good way for people who want to spend a little bit extra to get the GP to fast track their progress to like bossing and stuff. Like my memory does it, right? I didn't get that as a drop from Gate. I still haven't even done Croesus, right? I just don't have the groups to do stuff like that with. I'd love to do Amaskit. I'd love to do more ED runs and stuff like that. I just don't have the core group to do it with. Not usually, right? Bossing solo for me just gets boring and stale. I would much rather boss in a group. So something like this, like, yeah. Obviously there's still stuff like my Igneous, right? My Igneous Calquette, Calmore and stuff. Like, I have to get that because I had to go into Zuck. I had to get the funny rock that I think gives you culinary parts, right? It's so funny. I had to get the rock and apply it to my Kiln Cape, right? But like, I mean, it helps fast track some of your progress, right? Or like me, I've had situations where I've gotten PK'd and I've had to use some bonds to get back up to some stuff, right? And that's this is before like the wilderness updates and reworks and stuff, which I was really kind of bitter about that it happened so soon after. But like, I mean, at least it happened, right? So I think bonds are here to stay. I think that bonds can be a healthy experience, but I mean that, yeah, it really raises the question: do they intend to stop distributing bonds or stop, making bonds eligible for purchase, or are they going to be separate entirely? I can't imagine that the revenue source that they pose, I can't imagine that they would throw that away.
The best bit of all, we haven't even gotten to the new stuff. So let's start with Havenhive.
I'm sorry, what?
So, what is Havenhive?
Havenhive is RuneScape's biggest area expansion yet. It's a massive stretch of land to the east of Mauritania, filled with new villages, stories, people, adventures, encounters,
and a massive, bloodthirsty hedgehog.
Okay.
Can we talk about the Dreadhog yet?
Oh my god. Bro, is this going to be the new boss? Is this going to be the new solo boss? Is this Zuck 2? Well, Zuck 2.0 I think is Raziel, the first necromancer, right? Because he's also a solo boss. Is this the third solo boss? Bro, I'm ready for this.
No.
Okay, moving on.
Havenhive was once home to a First Age civilization, and it's a landmass packed with lots of rich, layered history.
Back in the First Age, Havenhive was home to a magical nexus, the birthplace of the Colossi, and a long dormant gateway to Vampirium itself.
Okay.
But it's totally safe, and nothing will go wrong there.
Where are they putting this? I'm on Dragon Tooth right now. Like, where are they? Is it just somewhere? Is it just going to pop out of the ground? Well, I guess because Anachronia wasn't always here, right? Because this is Mortania in the center of your screen, right? This is Mortania. I actually still haven't unlocked Berg de Rot and stuff. That's actually something I still need to do quest-wise. Mostly harmless. I'm assuming it's just going to pop out of the ocean. Like, I mean, there is a suspiciously empty patch of... I mean, there's empty patch of sea around everywhere, so this actually allows them to do a lot of things, right? Like, this is where... Lost Grove is where Solak is, right? Yeah, it's supposed to be east, right? Yeah, north, south, west, east, right? Yeah, so it'd be over here somewhere. I'm curious where they're going to put it. I'm curious how that's going to work.
Don't worry about it.
So what's Havenhive's vibe?
Havenhive has a really distinct feel to it. It's a land with a lot of life and people, a grounded and organic region filled with stories, oddities, and those smaller, familiar RuneScape moments.
But as you venture further beyond the village of Wendelwick, things start to change.
The forest's thin, the air will grow colder, and as we expand Havenhive throughout the year, you'll begin to feel that pull towards the east, where the region becomes more treacherous and vampiric.
Okay.
For now, though, in part 1, it will be a living, breathing region that welcomes you in, while showing you some subtle hints of its darker side.
How do you get to Havenhive?
So, it basically starts off like any great story. A stranger offers you a free, experimental drink at a dodgy tavern.
And in your infinite wisdom, you take it, no questions asked. And let's just say things get a little tricky.
You'll start seeing things you probably shouldn't. And before long, you're on a boat, sailing towards a land that doesn't want to stay hidden anymore.
Bro, it's just more funny Dawn Trail.
In part 1 of Havenhive, there will be a series of new quests for you to dive into.
2 of which kick off Havenhive's main storyline, where you hear of some strange rumours spreading through Wendelwick.
Rumours of a pale-skinned woman, long pointy ears, silver hair, sharp canines, red, hungry eyes.
She's a vampire, isn't she?
So I think me actually not having done the whole Mortania storyline, because, you know, just intermittent play throughout the years, not always having membership. I think going through and doing, because I want to get to Vire Watches, because I hear they drop a lot of herbs. I hear they're really good for farming XP too, just passively. I'm really excited for this to go through, because I actually don't know what happens to the whole vampire plot line. So it's both a blessing and a curse that I actually haven't done a lot of this stuff, because it means I get to experience some stuff like this that people have experienced for years, right? But it's going to be really interesting to actually go through this and then have the new content.
No comment.
The others are standalone quests that are full of fun little local stories that go beyond the core storyline to help familiarize yourselves with locals and their customs.
You know, the usual small town stuff. Neighbours, chores, and the odd crab problem.
What's the strangest thing in Havenhive?
The Dreadhog.
The Dreadhog.
The Dreadhog.
This bloody hedgehog will be one of the 2 bosses available on launch of Havenhive Part 1.
Silverquill the Dreadhog is one of our brand new early game combat bosses.
She'll teach...
I'm actually okay with this though, because I've done the Flesh Hatcher, what's his face? Oh god, what is it? Is it F3? Yeah, F3 Beasts. Yeah, Flesh Hatcher is actually really cool. Like, it's literally just it's ARR baby boss, right? Like, I already have like 278 kills. I've gotten a Stalker's Charm. I've gotten the Harpoon twice. I still can't get the eye. That one's eluded me so far, unfortunately. Honestly, I've loved it. He's not supposed to be some kind of big endgame boss. He's not supposed to be, Zamorak 2.0 or anything like that. So it's actually really interesting that they're focusing on early game bossing. Because I went back, I had to learn QBD recently. Oh man, QBD. Queen Black Dragon is weird. That's a weird boss. It definitely feels a little jank personally, but I'm also kind of bad at PVM. Like, I got my Zuck capes, but I can't do Zamorak anymore. Like, even with like full 5-set crit bloom, I need to relearn how to mitigate a lot of damage and prayer flick effectively. Like, it's been a relearning experience. Yeah, it's been interesting, but I like that they're focusing on early game bossing and stuff, and I like if Flesh Hatcher what's his face is the direction they're going with, where it's a lot of piss puddles and a lot of avoiding attacks and stuff. Like, I'm into it. And obviously they're gonna auto you, right? So you need to actually prayer and curse effectively, right? But like, I'm into it. I'm actually super into that.
A little more about telegraphed attacks and reading your opponent.
And if you can best the hog, you could just walk away with some of those silver spikes she's carrying.
Which might just come in handy later on in your Havenheith journey, given the vampires and all.
If you make it through that, you'll likely meet Ivar, the King of Bones, a massive hill giant with room temperature IQ.
Nice. He's another early game boss that will help you learn a little more about prayer flicking, and he may drop something a little more club-shaped too.
Bro, we're getting another strength weapon, please? I mean, I do like my big hitting weapons. I do like my Exekiel. I do like the butter knife.
With these two early game bosses, we want to help bring bossing back to its roots, while easing any new and returning players into combat, preparing for what's to come, and closing that gap between early and end game bossing.
I appreciate it.
And for the completionists among you, there will still be drops, pets, and titles for you to unlock. Alongside these new combat bosses, we'll also be introducing a new early game Slayer creature called the Sanguine Crawlers.
Oh, that's cool.
Outside of combat, Havenheith Part 1 will also have an extension to the Hunter skill, taking it to 110 with an expansion to the Big Game Hunter system. This time though, it's not all about tracking, it'll be about surviving. Giant creatures will be sniffing you out, and you'll need to find a way to gain the upper hand and take down the creatures.
Okay. By doing so, you'll get your hands on some loot, the best Hunter XP in the game, and those all-important materials needed to craft the new level 85 to 90 ranged armor.
So I've actually been looking at this. So range, we were talking about its balancing points earlier, how like Bow of the Last Guardian, even augmented, still uses charges. So I think Nox Scythe is the only tier 90 bow that doesn't actively use charges, right? I don't know. Like, I've been trying to figure out how to get back into ranged. I don't like expending charges. I'm not good enough, nor am I doing high enough content to use something like Elite Serenic, right? Or Dracolich, which drops in Vorkath, right? Because even then, augmented, that still decays. That seems to be range's shtick, is that I think it's because you have more tile range and because you might be even doing more damage than magic. So that's kind of its balancing point. I would adore a tier 90 set that doesn't degrade, just to have, like, just to be able to swap to ranged and not have to really worry about burning so much GP per hour.
Or the brand new Masterwork ranged armor.
That's hot.
More on that as we get closer to release.
I love that.
Beyond the hunt itself, there will be a load of other ways for you to train Hunter in Havenheith, such as clockwork trapping.
You'll craft a bunch of mechanical birdhouses, place them across Havenheith with bait, then return later to collect your catch.
Crafting these birdhouses uses logs from the latest 110 woodcutting update, from the most basic all the way through to eternal magic logs.
Each tier forming the base of a stronger trap.
And for those of you who prefer a more laid-back approach, clockwork box traps are also making their debut.
Last year, we talked about bringing in new integrity-focused ways to train that feel rewarding and grounded without relying on any MTX items. Clockwork box traps lean into that idea and are a new, efficient, fully craftable method available early enough to stay useful as you level.
They're designed to be a more relaxed training method, and one that fits neatly between each of your hunts.
Other things in the Hunter skilling update? Black Chin Chompers.
Anything else you want to say about Black Chin Chompers?
No.
black chinchompas.
Simple as.
You'll also start to notice some new jackalope faces hopping around in Part 1 of Havenheith. They're a step up from rabbit snaring, making early game hunter much smoother and more enjoyable for players starting out.
I actually have done very little hunter, so this actually excites me a lot. Being at 75 and I don't know, even just using protean traps has always just been kind of a hassle. I don't know. It's probably just because farming, I just haven't really gotten into it, right? Where yes, we have player-owned farms, so there's really no reason to not do farming. I'm just lazy.
While we're at it, there'll be a new soil sifting archaeology familiar too.
Ooh, that's cool.
As you explore Havenheith, you'll meet new faces, lend a hand where it's needed, and earn achievements tied to the people and places you discover along the way.
And as you travel beyond Wendelwick, you'll start to uncover new resources never before seen in Gielinor, like red ivy, a slower depleting tree for relaxed woodcutting.
Nice!
And giant crayfish at level 82 fishing.
Over the next year, Havenheith will continue to expand as we add more content to it.
With a new story quest later in the spring,
a new First Age archaeology dig site in the summer,
and a conclusion to Havenheith's story with Part 2, releasing towards the end of 2026, where you'll also meet the Grazi Blood Knights in a brand new solo and duo combat boss encounter.
Dude, I'm so ready for that, especially if there's a duo version. I'm ready for this.
We're super excited to bring Part 1 of Havenheith to life on the 23rd of March.
This is a big moment for RuneScape, and we want to mark the next step in our new chapter.
Mm-hmm.
We can't wait to drink that dodgy experimental drink and set sail to Havenheith, meet the people who live there, and make Havenheith your new home.
I'm excited for it. I think it'll be fun.
Well, I guess we won't be needing this anymore.
How dare.
Yes, it's true. Player Avatar is coming this April.
For those of you who don't know, Player Avatar is a project we kicked off in 2021.
Through lots of community consultancy and live streams, we worked with you to develop a remastered visual look for your player avatar that feels true to your character as you know it today.
I'm getting Xbox, the old Xbox 360, avatars. I'm getting that kind of vibe from this, and I'm not disappointed. I love this.
After we discovered some technical limitations in 2022, we've been spending the last few years investing in technical upgrades that could help us make it possible.
Now, we're ready to get this modern, grounded avatar into your hands over the course of multiple updates.
I love his shirt, by the way.
Our first update, in April, we laid the foundation in a new base avatar, updated hairstyles and facial hair options, plus newly updated base clothes. These models have been further refined since you last saw them, with slimmer profiles that more closely align with today's player avatar.
Okay.
We'll also be improving the quality of the chat heads, including chat head animations.
And we'll be looking for your feedback to help prioritize our future releases happening throughout the year. From which items or cosmetics we should update first, through to NPCs you'd like to see brought up to this standard. Look out for a survey this April to reshape the future of the player avatar refresh.
Dude, finally, I can't wait for rizzed up Raptor, dude. Raptor's gonna be a really cool looking dude.
That some of our modern outfits have sometimes felt like they have an odd shine to them, or maybe look a little bit too flat or too smooth in certain environments, while compared to the older, grainier textures. As part of the road to restoration later this year, we'll be rolling out rendering updates to begin to address this. And as we move through 2026, we'll keep fine-tuning and improving the look and feel of your character until we get it just right.
Look out for the first stage of the player avatar refresh this April.
I'm into it. I'm ready for this. I want to see it.
It's been a long time coming, but later this summer, we're bringing new life to the player-owned house.
Ooh. Yeah, this is a big one, actually.
The player-owned house has been part of RuneScape since 2006, almost 20 years ago. And while the game has grown quite a lot since, the player-owned house has stayed largely the same.
No.
This year, we want to change that and give player-owned housing the attention it truly deserves.
With this update, our goal is to make housing feel more connected to Gielinor again and create a space that feels personal, welcoming, and worth visiting.
I'm going to be honest. I know this isn't the intent, but this feels like a jab at 14. World of Warcraft's had a jab at 14's housing. I feel like this is really funny when you look at 14's housing situation, because for those who don't know, Final Fantasy 14 and housing, is, oh man, it is an absolute train wreck. And they keep saying they'll address it, but they don't really address it. And it's better than it used to be, right? But it's still not a perfect system, and especially when you're on Diabolos like I am, I can't imagine what it's like over on Balmung or maybe Mateus, right? Just high pop servers. I mean, good luck getting that mansion. Like, woo, 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 woo.
Whether it's your house or a friend's, you'll be able to have a whole new level of control over your home, with more ways to personalize, design, and shape your space exactly how you want it, down to the finer details.
Okay.
And we'll be giving construction a skill increase to 122.
That's why frames are going up.
We're also introducing a new recipe system that allows you to unlock and build furniture inspired by your past, present, and future adventures.
Can we get so here's the thing, can we get bossing furniture? Like in Lord of the Rings Online, you can go fight Ivar Bloodhand in Garth Argowen, right? The Lone Lands, about a level 20, level 30 area. You can just get Ivar on a spike. You can just get Chaotic Good Barbarian Lizard on a stick status. Just get him in your house. If they allow bossing furniture updates, I would love a tiny Telos in my house. I would love like a Zamorak skull in my house, right? Dude, that'd be so cool.
Imagine taking down a boss and proudly displaying a trophy from that battle right in your own home, or even completing a quest and having a keepsake as a reminder of the adventure.
Through the new recipe system, our goal is simple: to make your home a living reflection of the path you've taken, the memories you've made, and the victories you've earned.
Part of this update is also about bringing back that social spark and the joy of showing off your home, inviting friends over, and maybe even hosting the occasional house party.
You mean housing is better? Is more than just like Gilded Altar Farm? Wow, could have fooled me.
And don't worry, we've learned a thing or two since that other big house party. This update is about giving the player-owned house a much stronger purpose again, and a place for creativity, pride, and connection, making it...
I want that Zamorak altar. That's what I'm going for. Praise Zamorak. Okay, Zaros ain't got nothing on him. It's really funny because it is kind of a form of like, what starter Pokemon did you pick? What RuneScape god do you subscribe to? I used to subscribe to Guthix. Nah, I'm just a Zamorak follower. I'm not one of those Zamorak followers. Let's be real. Zamorak or bust. Surprising number of people actually don't like Saren. That one surprised me.
Feel like a true part of your RuneScape journey. We're still in early design at the moment, so we would love to hear what you would like to see from player-owned housing.
Bro, can I get a Dragonkin test tube? Like, you know how the Dragonkin during like the Extinction quest line, like leading up to it, there's like Dragonkin and test tubes and stuff over on I think it's Anachronia, right? Can we get Dragonkin test tubes? Can we just have a Dragonkin laboratory?
We can't wait to share more as we get closer to launch, and to take that journey together with you.
After everything we've talked about today, there's still plenty more to come this year.
In the spring, you'll be able to jump into a brand new standalone quest. It's a fluffy adventure and a spiritual successor to Gertrude's Cat. Think Lady and the Tramp meets Fort Forestry, just more fur. In autumn, we'll release another standalone quest. It's something a little different, but still true to our roots.
I think, well, this is Princess and the Pauper. I think that released fairly recently.
We're also bringing in remastered content updates at the end of spring, and again in autumn, as we revisit some classic pieces of content. More on exactly what this involves and what content we'll remaster later this year.
And of course, we'll have seasonal events throughout the year with a focus on stronger game integrity and quick ways to drop in, take part, and leave with a fancy reward.
And finally, in October, RuneFest is back. We can't wait to see all of you in person and share more content reveals for 2027. Now,
this is the Legends Guild soundtrack, right? Very good stuff. I love it.
You're probably thinking, when are they going to drop their typical, but wait, there's one more thing moment?
Never.
So, without further ado, let's end the show on one final thing.
Okay, what do we got?
That's right. Leagues is coming back to RuneScape this
Okay, so I actually wonder how this works. I wonder, because I don't want to like delete my main, obviously. I think there's a way that you can do it where it doesn't actually like affect your main account, but you can like merge the league's account and any rewards you get, because you get like bonus stuff, right? Not like any of the weapons and stuff. Like old school RuneScape leagues was disgusting. Like they have some really cool weapons that have like really special perks, right? I would do an RS3 league. I'd 100% do it. The issue is like I would do leagues. It's kind of like how I would do an Iron Man. Like I would do group Iron Man. I don't like doing things solo. I don't know. If this is something I'd stream as a progression series with a group of people, I'd do it.
This autumn, after the incredible response from all of you in our first ever league, we're taking everything we've learned and we're pushing this one step further with Leagues 2.
This time, it'll be bigger, faster, and basically even more busted.
There's going to be new, overpowered relics, new tasks and challenges, new rewards, all with a brand new Leagues twist that will completely flip RuneScape on its head.
We also heard your feedback from the Catalyst League, and with Leagues 2, progression will be even faster, as we want you jumping into the madness right away.
We're talking more auto-completed quests, earlier combat relics, a much smoother climb through the tiers, and relics will be way more overpowered than before.
Good stuff.
How would you describe Leagues 2 in one word?
Epic.
Juiced.
Ridiculous. Sounds like I'm casting a spell. We'll have much more to unveil this autumn, so stay tuned.
But for now, just know, Leagues is back, and once again, you'll be rewriting the rules and bending RuneScape to your will.
I'm into it. I'm ready. I do it.
We hope you've enjoyed everything we've shown today. Every single JMod has come together to help shape this vision for the future of RuneScape. We want this moment to be more than just a roadmap. It's a promise to build a world worth returning to time and time again for decades to come, together alongside all of you. So as RuneScape comes back online in a few short moments, we hope you feel it too, that sense of a new beginning. Because this isn't just the next year of RuneScape, it's the start of a new era. If you'd like to hear more about the content roadmap or the road to restoration, you can check out our official RuneScape Ahead blog, or join us live on Twitch for RuneScape Ahead Expanded, where we'll talk in more detail about everything shared in today's show. Thank you for being a part of this journey, and we'll see you in Gillinor.
I mean, I'm honestly excited. I mean, and here's the thing, right? If a game isn't performing up to where I want it to be, like 14, right? How 14's kind of in a lull with Dawn Trail. And I don't hate 14 by any means. I think that, you know, the team is doing a good job, and very much it's a quality of life update, right? It's a Stormblood 2 for all intents, but it's a new beginning. Although I guess the team itself is saying it's more like ARR 2, which I would disagree with on a couple points, but right, it's a beginning, right? If this is, I like what our mod Yakuharu has said, where this is a renaissance for RuneScape. I would agree. I think that the way this is set up, their focus on transparency, their focus on listening to feedback, I think is a good thing. And obviously they're not going to be able to make certain things happen, right? Because if it's just not feasible, it's not feasible, right? But like the fact that if they end up doing something along the lines of like the Warframe team and how they do Warframe dev streams, I would be very much into supporting something like this. Whether it be membership, whether it be bonds. Don't get me wrong, I buy a lot of bonds, okay? It's my Patreon at this point. It just funds my bond addiction. But like, I mean, this is a good spot. This is a good place to build up from. Now, obviously, some of the bad will that has been garnered, right? Whether that's Mod Jed, former Mod Jed, whether that's some different parts of the community, the less savory parts of the community, whether they renege on a bunch of stuff, especially if they renege on stuff, right? That becomes an issue, and you cross that bridge when you come to it, right? I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, and obviously, I mean, I've been playing throughout this entire time, right? It's just divination training, right? You could argue, actually, a really good point. You could argue the divination training, the memory dowser that I have. You could argue that this is making this very AFK, but then again, it's also pretty powerful. It's like 700 mil, and it's like 7 tiles of range or something like that. So you could argue that's kind of counterintuitive to the kind of like logos they presented earlier on about skilling, being engaging and stuff. But it's also divination. Like the core of it is very much not necessarily AFK, but it's very much, hey, do the thing, right? It very much is a skill that you just have to grind, right? Like there's not like, so perfect example, right? This Radiant Wisp, because I'm on community skilling, right? Spawned all the way over here from the crater, because 2 tiles around it, any memories get auto dumped, and then the enriched one spawned over here, so I can hit all the way over here. So I think it makes it more engaging by proxy, not necessarily that you're clicking more things, but that you're engaging with more things, or have the ability to engage with more things, and it eliminates a lot of the tedium of, well, now I'm full on memories, guess I gotta go dump it into the crater, right? Very expensive item, to be fair, which kind of balances it out. So I don't know. I'm very curious what your guys' thoughts are. I'm very curious if there's anyone watching this who's watching me for a while who goes, wait, Kip, you play RuneScape? I do. It was actually one of the earlier games I streamed, and I'd very much like to get back to it. Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14. I'd like to try World of Warcraft at some point, as well as Guild Wars 2. But right now, RuneScape, Final Fantasy 14, Destiny 2, they're all big grind games that take my time up on stream. And Warframe as well, the occasional Warframe stream that we do, because I'm kind of caught up. But like, I like games that I can sink time into, and that I feel reward very good dev studios who are communicative, very professional, and the community, like I talked about earlier, Protox, Froxu, a lot of these YouTubers, like RS Guy, right? Watched one of his guys recently, and just all of them are a pleasure to watch and deal with. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if this is your first understanding that I actually play RuneScape, or have any knowledge of RuneScape. Let me know if that just makes sense. Let me know what your memories of RuneScape are. If you, say, played RuneScape and you left, does this, kind of reinvigorate interest for you? Light that fire again? Do you think Jagex is too far gone? What are your thoughts and opinions on it? Would you come back to RuneScape? Let's get those discussions down below. And also, why is Zamorak the best god? Thank you everyone for watching. Really do appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next one.